just in relationships in general, usually in every relationship, whether it's a parent and a child or even people coming together as lovers in relationship, a very common thing is that one of them is more dominant. One leads and one follows. It's the way all dances work. But in every case, the one who follows begins to resent it. In every case, because when someone else is dominant, then your desire for more freedom is really, really strong. We say with men and women, often she feels insecure. And because she feels insecure, then she holds you to standards that make you not feel free. And the less not free you feel, then the more insecure she feels. And even the dynamics are almost the same going on here. And so there's something that's going to take place in his sort of flying the coop, and that is he's going to feel more free, and in feeling more free he's going to feel less depressed. It is just going to be a natural consequence of the way it unfolds. So not to worry about him, but you've developed patterns of worry.
I have, and it's transferring over. I've been doing so good all summer, and I've manifested a wonderful relationship into my life, and I'm helping all of these people in my life to degrees that I feel so blessed that I get to help them and do these things. And I'm working on to transitioning into buying my own house in like 2 months. And I have all of this, the same fear that feels irrational, like it's not, there's no logic in it, but I'm like sabotaging myself with fear that comes up, and I don't know what to do with it or how to get rid of it.
Well, here's what's interesting about fear of the unknown. There's always new coming, and it's always unknown. And so if you've developed these patterns of fear of the unknown, then you're holding yourself in a pretty tense position much of the time.
And it could be amazing. Like everything could work out. So the fact that I have this fear, I have this conversation, I try to aid myself.
But you're not really trying to convince us, because you know that we are unconvincible. So what do you think this conversation is about? Why do you feel the need to verbalize your fears? Where do you feel an impulse to verbalize your fear? Just don't try to give us too quick of an answer. Just sit with it a minute. It's law of attraction. Law of attraction is the reason for that impulse, because you get it going, 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 then you're just like a broken record. And so here you are. You know for sure that we're going to tell you that all is well, and you've heard it over and over again. You know what we're going to say. We say the same thing to everyone about everything. In other words, you're not going to be the one exception in all of the universe. We're suddenly going to say, oh, you're different. You get to be irrational in your fears, and it's going to work out just fine anyway. That's not how it's going to be. And so you know for sure, you know by what you've heard from us, you know for sure that when you get up here and complain about stuff, that we're going to climb your tree. You know we're not going to let you get away with it for one moment, and still you do it. That's irrational. But why? Why do you do it? Because I can't not do it, Abraham. I can't not do it. I can't not do it. Why not? Because momentum has it going. Well, how did momentum get going? Because I've been doing it. So Abraham, are you saying because I've been doing it, I can't stop doing it? Yep, that's pretty much the message. Well, then what do? Well, a lobotomy is recommended. You got to do something. So what do? If you've been thinking thoughts and it produces more thoughts, how do you stop doing that? Well, for one thing, life keeps causing you to ask for more. In other words, the stakes get higher and higher. Your desire becomes more and more. It goes like this. If you've sifted through contrast and you ask for something and you don't line up with it, don't worry, it will get bigger, because the contrast will get bigger and you'll ask stronger. So you've asked stronger. Now you've got someone you care very much about. That's a strong, strong desire. So now you're asking stronger, but you're still not lining up with it. So what happens? You ask stronger, and you're still not lining up with it. So what happens? You ask stronger. This is just the way that it works, until eventually there becomes a big enough asking that sometimes you can let go of your beliefs and your asking can dominate. But that's the hard way to go about life. Esther has a friend who moved to a ranch in Colorado some years ago. And the ranch was big and right on the edge of a national forest. And in the national forest are lions and tigers and bears. oh my. All kinds of scary stuff out there in that national forest. And her friend said to Esther, there are so many things to be afraid of, I've had to give some of them up. Well, there's something to be said for that. In other words, you only have so much daylight, so much waking time, but during that awake time, you could just gently begin focusing upon more and more positive aspects on subjects that don't feel so urgent. And don't beat up on yourself for law of attraction carrying you down the rabbit hole on the subjects that you've already got momentum. That's a sort of natural thing. But just accept that your thoughts are generating more thoughts, You know, you only have to think a thought for 16, 17, 16, 17, 16, 17, 16, 16-ish, 16 seconds before another thought like it joins it. That's how fast the response of law of attraction is. And once you've got that thought going and you add another 16 and another 16, you get just a little over a minute and you've got a very strong momentum going. Well, you have control over that. When we first began saying that to some of you, you began worrying about your thoughts, trying to suck them back before law of attraction got hold of them. And what we want you to do is just relax more. Don't try so hard. Get off on a better foot, which means when you get up in the morning, make a statement to yourself, my momentum stopped while I was asleep, and now I can start a better momentum if I choose to. And when you hear yourself repeating that same story that's so easy for you to repeat, next time you do it, it's going to sound a little off to you because we've shined a spotlight on its offness. You do not need to keep repeating the things that are not pleasing to you. See if we can shake you up just a little bit, all of you. It's like you think that there's a giant mother in the sky that if you complain enough, she will grant you a better hand. And being a mother that's been trying to do that all along,
like, can I do that? I would love to do that.
we want to say to you, there's not some figure who is bypassing, we can say this better. When life causes you to ask, we're all over it. But when you're out of sync with what you've asked for, that's on you. Esther will say, Abraham, I know I'm not in alignment with you, and that's why I feel so awful right now. But just this once, couldn't you join me where I am? Instead of me needing to cause my vibration to rise. And she knows that that's not going to happen because that's the value that we have to her. That's the value that your inner being has for you. You've just got to find some way to set your tuner on the same frequency that your inner being is offering. So your inner being offers love, you offer worry. Your inner being offers love, you offer trepidation. Your inner being offers love. In other words, you've got to find the match. And if you can't find it on one subject, find a subject that you can find it on, or get off the subject.
Thank you for giving us tools to help us change our vibration.
So where are you at now? In other words, all we've done is tell you what you already know. And nothing's really shifted that much except that we've told you what you already know. So what's going to be different for you now? Tell us something that you feel about your son going off. Tell us something right here and right now that feels good when you say it.
That I know that the freedom that he's gaining is going to build momentum for him.
Okay, now you can make it less complicated. He's going to feel great in his freedom.
In his freedom, not
He's just going to feel really good in his freedom. Now sit with that for a minute. He's going to feel really good in his freedom. And then does any aftermath to that come to you? In other words, he's going to feel really good in his freedom. Now we know that feels good to you. Does it stay feeling good or is it wavering already?
It feels good.
Because, you know,
I feel like I can build
it's
off.
you he's getting free of. You do know that.
That's okay.
You do know that. Better said, it's you and the way you usually think about him that he's freeing himself of. He's not freeing himself of your love, not ever, or of your appreciation, or really of your expectation for him to thrive. He's being freed of your nagging and your worrying. He's being freed of the parts that bother you too. Wouldn't you like to free yourself?
Yeah, and
So he's going to run away from you. What are you going to do with you?
stop nagging.
This is big. He's going to run away, and he's not going to think about you very much for a while unless he needs some money or food or something. His depression is going to go immediately away, and your depression is going to set in because you like being needed. You do too. You like being needed, and what you want for your children is that they don't need you because they've got their inner being.
Yes.
And what you want for yourself, you're not needy either because you've got your inner being, but you got to sync up with it, you see. And so, that's a lot to contemplate, but it isn't anything that you don't already know. But it's different patterns of thought. So we sowed some powerful seeds there. In other words, we got them right out of your vortex. We didn't tell you anything that you haven't been asking about. This is not something that we just made up and thought you might like. This is things you've been asking about that we've delivered to you in a very straightforward fashion. And so it's true of so many people who care about so many people. There's something that you picked up along your physical trail that's really distorted. It's a flawed premise. And it goes like this. It's a human tendency, flawed. I'm going to exhibit my love for you through my suffering about you. And the thing that's so screwy about that is that when there's suffering, there's no vibrational equivalency to love. So the very thing that you mean to give to them through your struggle and suffering, you don't have access to because your vacuum's not plugged in. You kind of have to get it straight in your mind. When do you have something to give your child or your friend or anybody? When you're feeling at your best. Sometimes you have to look into their vortex to find the good feeling, or look into your own vortex. Often you can't look at the reality that's currently in existence to find it, but you have to want to find it so much. That's that emotional thing that you were talking about. You have to want to find it so much that you find it in spite of what's going on. I want satisfaction so much, I'm going to tune myself to it. And after a little while, you'll just get used to feeling good, no matter what the subject that you are focused upon is. So now where are you? You heard all of that, didn't you? So now pretend like you just walked up the steps and you sat down and you want to talk to us about your, who is it?
My son.
And what's going on with him?
He's turning 18. It's really exciting. He's starting a new phase in life. I'm really excited.
It's a whole different person than she was describing earlier. It's a whole different person. It's a whole different person. And all that other stuff that has been or even is totally irrelevant.
And I'm excited for both of us, for what this is going to look like, for the path that we're both